Sans te faire tarder, je vais ainsi de suite présenter notre deuxième panéliste, qui est traductrice et interprète de conférences basée au Canada. Depuis 12 ans, elle évolue avec aisance dans cet art subtil qui consiste à ne pas simplement traduire des mots, mais à transmettre des idées, des intentions et parfois même des silences. Avec deux masters en poche, l'un en traduction et en interprétation de conférences, elle maîtrise aussi bien la précision de l'écrit que la spontanéité exigeante à l'oral. Et croyez-moi, dans son métier, il n'y a pas de bouton pause. Son parcours l'a menée au cœur des secteurs aussi pointus que l'aviation, le droit, les droits humains, la santé ou encore le commerce international. Des millions de mots traduits, plus de 2500 jours en cabine sur le terrain, mais surtout des milliers de conversations rendues possibles grâce à elle. Et oui, donc là, je parle d'une interprète de haut vol, hein, une animatrice et modératrice d'événements. Elle sait captiver, fait sourire et surtout créer ce lien unique avec des auditoires bilingues. Un talent qui ne s'improvise pas. Elle a accompagné des multinationales, des gouvernements, des organisations internationales et des ONG, toujours avec cette élégance professionnelle et cette intelligence culturelle qui font toute la différence. Et parce que, derrière chaque carrière ou parcours inspirant, il y a aussi une histoire de vie. Cette femme est une épouse, elle est maman, elle est une femme qui incarne avec beaucoup d'authenticité cet équilibre tant ce que nous cherchons en fait à construire au quotidien. Donc là, peut-être que vous avez deviné, je parle de Winie ENGOLA. Donc, est-ce que Winie ENGOLA est là?
Oui, présente.
Ok, elle est là. Super. Voilà. Winie ENGOLA. Pouvez-vous vous présenter, nous parler de votre parcours dans l'interprétation de conférences et aussi comment décrivez-vous votre quotidien d'aujourd'hui avec des enfants et une carrière exigeante? Comment est-ce que vous le faites?
Merci infiniment, Madame Ayouk, pour cette brillante présentation. Alors là, on ne pouvait pas faire mieux. Mais avant de commencer, j'aimerais d'abord remercier le responsable des opérations de Translate Pro qui m'a contacté pour faire partie de cet auguste panel. Vraiment, c'est un honneur et un réel plaisir. Merci beaucoup à l'équipe entière même de Translate Pro qui nous a accompagnés depuis près de 2 semaines, si je ne m'abuse, à Tech les Mara. Oui, donc merci infiniment. Et pour toutes les personnes qui me connaissent, ces personnes savent que je suis quelqu'un qui adore la justice. Et pour des soucis d'équité, j'ai décidé aujourd'hui de m'exprimer majoritairement en anglais pour donner un peu du fil à retordre à mes collègues en cabine française et aussi pour qu'ils ils ne se tournent pas les doigts. Voilà. So I will now switch into English. My name is Winie ENGOLA, and I am a translator and conference interpreter. I've been in the domain for quite 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. And where did I get the master's? The first one, which is translation, was from ASTI, the Advanced School of Translators and Interpreters. And the second one, conference interpreting, was with Tech. We happen to be classmates. And after that, I started out as an in-house translator and interpreter. First, I started with the Senate of Cameroon, where I was a consultant from 2021, no, from 2018 to 2021. And I worked as a translator, an in-house translator and a conference interpreter with the Cameroon Civil Aviation from 2019 to 2024. Then I moved and I relocated to Canada on November the 29th, 2024. with the love of my life and with our kids, we decided to explore a new experience and adventure. So here we go. Here I am in Canada, full-fledged, full freelance interpreter, because this is what I do on a daily basis. I interpret more than I translate, which is not really that bad. I like it because interpretation was more opened for my case. I don't know if it's the case for Tech or Mara, but that's what was more convenient for me. So I cannot remember your question, the last one after my introduction. Can you please refresh my memory?
Okay, okay. So, I was asking, how can you describe your day-to-day life as a mother and a career woman?
Okay,
How do you strike a balance between the two?
very interesting question. Thank you so much for that. As a mom, hmm, it's tough. And as an interpreter in a new continent and in a new country with a different set of cultures, of ways of doing things, I must admit it was really different and difficult, challenging because I never traveled abroad, even though I was working with the Civil Aviation Authority. And it was really tough. It was tough at the beginning because I had to integrate and adapt at the same time. And the integration was um, in many ways as a mom who had to hold the hands of her kids, who were also discovering a new world, a new country, a new school system. And as an interpreter, who didn't know where to go, there was no one to open the door for me. Anyway, a few people who did so. So I had to set up a strategy. And my approach was really to give myself the opportunity to, how will I say that? To find a balance between what I really want to do as a professional and what I really want to give as a mom with kids who are under 6. This is why I decided to start out as a freelancer. I didn't want to be in a in-house position that will prevent me from really being on a daily basis available for my kids. So that's what I decided to do. And it takes a lot of organization. It takes a lot of discipline, self-motivation, because at times there's nobody to tell you, oh yeah, you need to do this or do that. So it really takes a lot of self-discipline, which I was able to do so. My motto is always to never set limits on on my own side. I don't want to be the one to to create barriers that might not be there as well for me. So that's what I did, and I think I've been able to reach the target so far. So thank you.
Well, interesting. And so, you said you moved to Canada in November 2024 with the love of your life, and you're exposed to a new culture. So, what is your experience like? Do you think there's a cultural clash when it comes to being a mom and a professional in Cameroon and outside Cameroon? What is your experience?
This is quite interesting. Yes, it's a totally different ball game. In Africa, you have what Tech said, your support system. You have your support system. Even if you cannot do a chore or carry out an activity, you have many people around. You have maybe your parents, your siblings, or even friends who can step in and give a helping hand. But here, you don't have that. Or even if you want to have that, you need to to be able to fend for yourself and to pay for that, for the services, for those who are here without their siblings or parents for my kids. So it's quite different. And it's also different in such a way that here there's a lot of rigor. It's strict and the level is really high in terms of how to deliver, how to do your job appropriately. Uh, I don't know if the participants were there when we were doing our coordination. I asked a question at the beginning that are the interpreters going to take turns or how is the setup? Because here, not only you go into your A, which is the traditional setup in Cameroon, I don't know for other regions, but here in Canada, you do both ways because we have turns like per 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I beg your pardon, or 30 minutes or 20 minutes, irrespective of the topic or the team setup. So it's really tough, and I must admit that it requires more practicing. It requires more hours, like late time when the kids are sleeping. You need to really step up your game if you want to really be up to the task because the competition is also high. Knowing that you are a freelancer and not no longer an in-house translator and interpreter, so it's a different ball game. I must admit.
Okay, wow. So change of environment, change of culture, and probably change of strategies. So, do you have any coping mechanisms or strategies to help you cope? And please, just before you answer that, I would like to remind our dear participants that interpretation services are available. So please scroll to your Zoom the toolbar, and you click on the globe icon or more. From there, you'll have access to interpretation services and you can switch from one language to the other. Donc, des services d'interprétation temps pour moi sont disponibles. Veuillez cliquer sur l'icône du globe pour y accéder et passer à la langue de votre choix. Donc oui, vous pouvez suivre le webinaire, que ce soit en anglais ou en français. Okay, sorry, voilà. So I was asking, new environment, new culture, new exposure. What were your coping mechanisms whenever you faced difficulties or whenever you were faced with some stringent situations?
Thank you so much for that. Coping strategy. I remember when I just relocated here, I attended a networking event that was gathering women immigrant entrepreneurs. And there's a powerful statement that the lady said. She said, as women and as immigrant, and more to that, as entrepreneurs, we have a full potential. And the only loophole or the only challenge ahead of us is just a lack of opportunity. So once we get that opportunity, we are able to strike it really right. And she also pointed out that living from an environment where you might have your support system and you can and the weather is not real the weather is conducive because here in Canada we have temperatures minus 45, 30, so it's really difficult to interact or to even go out, step out and even just have a walk. Is really challenging. So what she said is, for us newcomers, we need to find the reason that gives us the opportunity, the reason why we get up every morning and work, step out and put on those heavy snowsuits. You need to find a reason deep within yourself to get ahead. And you will not find something that you don't like because you definitely need to carry an activity that you like and that you're passionate about, because it's only passion that will help you to overcome all those challenges, whether be it the weather or the new environment, the new setup. You don't have all your friends here. So you need to find something that is motivating to yourself. And that's my coping mechanism. I like dancing and I like interacting with people. So, and I also like talking. I like talking whether in the booth or outside the booth when I am acting as an MC. So that's what I do on a daily basis to cope. I find the little things that make me happy, and that's it. I also volunteer because volunteering also helps a lot, because when you give yourself to others, that's how you forget about anything that might be bothering you for the meantime. And seeing the smile in the face of the people that you're helping, it's a different sensation. It helps you to really cope and to forget about the day-to-day hurdles. So that's it.
Okay, wow. Well, you talked about talking, speaking, and I think as interpreters, we are compelled to speak whether we like it or not. So maybe it gets
Yeah.
part of our daily activities. So I'd like to ask, maybe, well, if you don't mind, have you ever been faced in a situation where you have to choose between your work and your family? Let's say maybe you're in the booth and you get news that your child is not feeling fine and you have to rush the child to the hospital. Or let's say you're to cover an important meeting and you realize, well, the day before that your child is not feeling fine. And doesn't it have a toll on you, on your mood? Are you going to stay focused, distracted, or what has it been like? Have you been faced in such a situation where you have to choose between work and family?
Well, there are so many instances where has occurred to me. And when you were asking the question, something just clicked to my mind. I remembered one of our lecturers back in those days when we were getting the training. He said an interpreter can be excellent. You have so many competent interpreters, but what really helps you to stand out is your soft skill. So I wanted to highlight this point because we are just human beings, and at times we just need a break. We just need a break. And it's not as if it's an emergency. The only emergency, like my mom always says, is in the emergency at the hospital. So if it's not in the hospital, if it's not a cry or die, no way. There's always a solution. So if I'm faced with a situation where I have to choose between this, my kids or my family life or my work life, I think I will, the truth just sets us free. I will just, you were taking the example of a situation where I'm in a booth and then my phone just rings and I have a situation that I have to cater to back home. I'll just tell my colleague, oh, please, would you mind? I have this, just give me a few minutes. It's not that I will just step out and leave the booth to the colleague, no, but I will definitely take a measure to, first of all, cater to that before coming back. But if it's not possible, then I will let the colleague know that this is what is happening. And I'm sure that as human beings, it can happen to me or to the colleague, and there'll be understanding. There'll be understanding. And with regard to an assignment that I may have turned down just because I had to prioritize my family life. This occurred to me last week, where my youngest one uh, had to stay with me home because her daycare was closing. How do you call that? Her caregiver was having an emergency. Voilà, she had an emergency and she said she won't be able to take care of her. And I had about 4 meetings on that day. And with the small baby, and she's no longer small, but anyway, it wasn't going to be possible. So I had to call the agency to let the agency to know that this is what is happening. I have a family. Anyway, you must not go into the details, but I had to let her know, the agency, that I won't be able to cover the meeting, all the meetings, because life happens. And when life happens, you prioritize what matters most because your job will always be there because you choose your job, but you don't choose your family anyway. As a parent, you can choose because you wanted the kids, right? But um, your family is what remains, what stays with you when you go on retirement. So you will really want to be mindful of how you do things in such a way that when you grow older, you will not be left all alone in your house, in your big house, with your big cars that you really strived to earn while you were working. So that's it.
Wow, wow, wow. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting you to say you had up to 4 meetings. I was maybe expecting to hear I had a meeting or two, but four, and still you're able to juggle your way through. That's very interesting. It really shows that as women, we can find a coping mechanism. We just need to think it through and well, to be inspired by people like you, because honestly, in that situation, I don't know what I would have done. First off, I would have gone crazy before thinking of a solution. So thank you so much. Thank you,
Mhm.
dear participants. I hope you're paying attention to our guests because we'll have a question and answer session. And please feel free to ask your questions when the time comes, either by dropping them in the chat or you simply raise your hand, your electronic hand, of course, and the floor will
Mhm.
be given to you. So thank you once more, Winnie, for sharing your experience with us.